What's up everyone, I'm back at it with another box. Hey everyone, thanks for watching, I really appreciate it. I like doing these videos because tackle is what I live for. This is my life, I love bass fishing. We're gonna share it with you, what I got from Seaguar. Now this one's a little different. Sometimes I just get random stuff sent to me, but this one is from Seaguar and this is something that I actually ordered. So we're gonna talk about it and I'll tell you why I got these specific things and what I'm using them for. So not a huge order, but I'm gonna show you what I got. Spring is coming, crankbait time. My favorite line for cranking is Seaguar Abrazex fluorocarbon 12 pound. I needed to restock on this. 12 pound is a great all around size for pretty much all crankbaits except for like your 6XDs, 10XDs, those big crankbaits. Everything else you can pretty much throw on 12 pound Abrazex. And Abrazex, if you don't know, is one step up from Invisex. So it's a little bit better quality than Invisex, but it's not quite the level of a Tatsu. So it's a really good premium fluorocarbon, very abrasion resistant, 12 pound, you can't go wrong. I also throw this a lot for jerk baits. Now, a lot of people like 10 pound. I think 12 is kind of the best balance of getting the most out of your bait, but not being scared that you're gonna break it just from getting nicked and hitting cover or catching big fish. The biggest problem with line, especially lighter line, is user error. You don't retie enough, you are dragging it along rocks, things like that. So having 12 instead of 10 just gives you a little bit more strength. I mean, one size bigger is better. So 12 pound is great for that. Next one, again, Abrazex, and this is 20 pound. So again, spring is coming. I really like to flip and pitch around docks. Here in Texas where I live, there's tons and tons of zebra mussels all over these docks, all over these ropes. So Abrazex will just give you a little bit more abrasion resistance around that kind of stuff. 20 pound is great for pitching. It's great. Now 20 pound is also really good for swim baits. And typically I'm not fishing those, dragging through cover, but 20 pound is great for, your glide baits, that style of bait. So 20 pound is really something that you can do a lot with. One other thing too I will mention is all the different brands really vary based on their pound test ratings. Some, you got guys that say, oh, my 12 pound is so strong, it's the best ever, but if you look at the diameter, it's actually much thicker than someone else's 12 pound, like Seaguar. They're a lot more true to pound test break strength. So 20 pound is, so what I'm saying with all that is 20 pound is not as thick as you would think. You still cast really well. You can cast a bait fine with 20 pound. It's not too thick where it's gonna, you don't need a bigger reel, you don't need to do anything special. It still casts extremely well. I mean, 20 pound is also what I use for a lot of my chatterbait fishing as well. So Seaguar invented fluorocarbon in the 70s, early 70s, but they also make really good braided lines. So I'm gonna talk about two of them real quick that I use, and they are the Seaguar Smackdown. So they come in two colors. We got the Stealth Gray, which is this one. I'll open it up for you too. And then the Flash Green. So I'm gonna talk to you about what I'm gonna use these for, because there's very specific purposes in here. So Flash Green is a bright braid. You can see that, it's very bright. So that's great for your spinning techniques where you need to watch your line, which is pretty much every technique. Drop shot fishing, Ned rigs, wacky rigs, anything like that. That bright braid makes a huge difference on being able to see when your line ticks, when one grabs it and runs with it. So I really like that flash green color for that. Now I am experimenting with some of those situations with a Stealth Gray, which is like this. So the reason I'm going to experiment with some of those situations with finesse and spinning is I have heard from certain people, and maybe it's just, they're in their mind, but they believe in clear water, when that bright green line goes past the fish, even though you have your fluorocarbon leader, they feel in their mind that they get more bites with a line that's not as easy to see. So I'm gonna try and see if that is true, see if I notice anything different. Again, you're gonna lose that trade-off with having that high vis line to detect bites, but maybe you'll get a few more bites. So that's just kind of an experiment that I'm gonna do here in the spring, just to see if it actually matters, if I notice getting more bites. So out of these two, these are the two most popular sizes that I use. We got the 10 and the 15. You really can't go wrong with either of those for spinning. They cast very well, very strong, very thin, very smooth going through your guides. It's a great line. in both 10 and 15. Those are the two sizes I use the most. Almost, I wouldn't say interchangeably, but they both work. 10 pounds obviously can cast a little bit further just because it's thinner. 15 obviously is going to be a little bit stronger. You're not going to have to worry about abrasion or retying as much. The other cool thing about these two is they are now offered in a 300-yard spool. So before it was only 150 yards, which is fine. Obviously 300 is going to cost roughly twice as much. But the thing that makes a difference to me, a lot of times when you're spooling a reel, say it takes 100 yards, then you only had 50 yards left. So each spool of the 150 yards was roughly one reel. Now with 300 yards, even though you're paying twice as much, you're actually gonna get 3 spools out of it. So if it's something that you're gonna use a lot of, it definitely makes sense to go bulk across the board for anything, in my opinion. If you're gonna use it anyways, you might as well get a little bit more out of it and not have a bunch of spools with 20 yards on them that you can't do anything with. It's one thing with fluorocarbon. I mean, you could always find a use for that for leader material or something else, but honestly, I had so many spools that just had hardly anything on it. You can only use so much backing, really, so it makes sense to go with a bigger spool when you can. So there you go. So yeah, some more flash green, 10, 15, just a lot of different braid, because I use spinning tackle like crazy. So on my boat at all times, I probably have 6 or 7 spinning rods at least. Even living here in Texas, when I go up north, it's more like 10. I mean, I really use spinning gear, not afraid to use it, and I like that braid to fluorocarbon. But with that being said, I am also gonna experiment this year using straight fluorocarbon for some techniques. Just going back to how it used to be done. With that, obviously you're gonna lose some of that sensitivity from braid. It's not gonna cast as well as it will with braid to fluoro, and you're not gonna have that high vis bite indicator stuff. But I am gonna start using, I'm gonna try it, just for select techniques in select situations, clear water, smallmouth, things like that. 6-pound Tatsu and 8-pound Tatsu. So Tatsu, if you know about this, is the best fluorocarbon that Seaguar makes, really I think that anybody makes. And it is a 200-yard spool, not cheap, but it is a double structure fluorocarbon. It's really the best of all worlds. Strength, manageability, I mean, I could go on and on, but it's very good for spinning applications. It's the best fluorocarbon they make, and it's very limp, manageable, strong, you name it. So I am gonna try that. And last but not least, we got a couple spools, a couple sizes, I should say, of their Tactics braid, which is completely different than the Smackdown. Smackdown is an 8-carrier braid, so it's 8 strands that are tightly woven together, so that makes it very smooth, strong, sensitive, quiet. I mean, there's a million reasons why 8-strand is awesome, but this is a 4-strand. So the difference is it's just gonna be a little bit rougher in your hand. It is gonna be louder, but the edges of this braid, you won't be able to see this probably, but this is also like a cool camo color, but it's rougher, but that also helps for cutting through vegetation. So if you're using a frog, 50-pound is great. We've all had that situation where a frog goes under, you set the hook, and it just gets stuck in the lily pad or gets stuck in the reeds. This will slice through it a lot better just because it is more serrated. So I really like it for that application. I also like the 40-pound for topwater fishing. And there's a couple reasons I like that. So one is it casts very well. I mean, maybe not as good as Smackdown. It also, in my opinion, holds a knot better when you're doing a short leader of fluorocarbon, which I like to do on my topwaters. And the reason being is so when you're working your bait quickly, the braid doesn't wrap around the front treble. So I put a little short leader of fluorocarbon on it. I think that this holds a knot better for the heavy pound tests, better than Smackdown. And maybe that's just in my mind, but I really like it, using a short 20-pound leader of fluorocarbon for your topwaters. And then this stuff just casts really well. So really big fan of the Tactics. It's also a less expensive braid, which is always good. So can't go wrong with either of these braids. But really everything that Seaguar makes is good quality. I mean, they're a leader for a reason. So that's the stuff that I ordered, what I'm gonna be using, and why. So thanks for watching, I really appreciate it. I will continue to do these unboxing videos, try to give you some of my knowledge. I mean, that's all I think about is fishing. So as always, if you have any questions or comments, put them down below. I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks for watching.